Introduction to Psychology for People with Learning Disabilities.
Hello, I'm a clinical psychologist. This DVD is for you, a person with a learning disability. This DVD is here to explain to you what psychologists do and who they are. Psychologists are there to support and help people when they have problems. We can help when you feel afraid or when something has happened and you feel very sad. When you feel really angry or when someone has hurt you or touched you in a way that you don't like. You can talk about your problems. We will listen to you. Together with you, a psychologist will do their best to work through problems, to think of ways to make things better, to talk through changes. We hope we can help you to feel better. We may ask you questions to help us understand your difficulties. We may ask you about your life, about people who are important to you, your health, your problems, what you want to happen. We are not medical doctors. We will not give you tablets or injections. You can decide if you want to see a psychologist, or if you don't, it's your decision. In this DVD, you'll see a number of psychologists working in different ways. We work in different ways because people need different things. We'll do our best to give you the support you need. We work with other people, like nurses, occupational therapists, speech and language therapists, and psychiatrists. Sometimes we might feel that it would be a good thing to share some of what you tell us with these people. We wouldn't do this without talking to you about it first. Our aim is to help you to have the best quality life possible. A psychologist could see you in your home, at your GP surgery, or at one of our centres. The psychologist would probably talk with you about the best place to meet. After watching this DVD, you might have some questions about it. Please have a look at the service user chapter where people have asked psychologists different questions, and you may find the answer to your question. You may find it helpful to watch the DVD with somebody else so that you can ask questions as you go along. In this DVD, you are going to see psychologists talking about their work. All the paid actors are people with learning disabilities. People with learning disabilities, psychologists, and advocacy groups have worked together with the Centre of Excellence in Interdisciplinary Mental Health at the University of Birmingham to create this DVD. We hope you enjoy it.
Psychodynamic psychotherapy. This short video tells you about psychodynamic psychotherapy. Sometimes bad things happen to people. Perhaps someone has died or someone has hurt you. Perhaps someone has forced you to do something you didn't want to. This can be very upsetting. You may feel sad, angry, guilty or scared. Talking to a psychologist may help. The psychologist will see you on your own, but you can bring someone with you if you want. The psychologist will see you in private.
I feel really sad.
Do you want to tell me why you feel sad?
Yes, I do. I haven't told anyone about it before.
Sometimes it takes time to trust your psychologist. You can take your time. You don't have to talk about anything you don't want to.
I'm scared because something's hurt me.
Oh, Sarah, do you want to tell me a bit more about that?
You can take your time. You don't have to talk about anything you don't want to. The psychologist will ask you about your past, things you remember from your life.
You said you're feeling very sad. Can you tell me what's troubling you?
Well, it's happened a long time ago, and I haven't told anyone about it before.
Even if it happened a long time ago, it can still be important now.
Talking about the past helps us to understand why things are troubling now. We describe this way of working together as psychodynamic psychotherapy. The psychologist will see you at the same time, in the same place, in the same room.
We've talked about some difficult things today, but it is time for us to end now. Shall we make a time to meet again next week?
Yeah, yes, we'd like that.
Okay, well, we'll meet here at the same time.
We need to finish now for today.
Okay.
Are you okay to meet next week?
Yes.
That's Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll see you next week. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
I've been seeing my psychologist for a year now. My psychologist listened to me. I could tell him anything. If you have a problem, go and talk. He will help. I felt a big weight was lifted from my shoulders. It was upsetting at first, but I learned to cope with it. It was okay to cry. I feel safe and relaxed when talking to my psychologist. It is hard to open up, but don't be afraid to talk. Talking helps.
Positive behaviour support.
I'd like to welcome Rod to the studio. Rod, can you tell us what your work is called?
Hi Sarah. We call our work Positive Behaviour Support. Positive behaviour support is for people who want to practice learning things. We think that the person with learning disabilities is in charge. We won't make you do things you don't like.
Do you just sit and talk to people?
No, Sarah. We actually help people get going and do things, not just talk about upsets in the past. We're interested in you being a winner and getting what you want. We go slowly and never tell people off. We check that people are not upsetting you. We offer you support for your behaviours.
What have you helped people learn this year?
Well, Sarah, this is what we've done this year. How to get on with others and stay friends. Also, the sorts of things to say and what not to say. This way, you can enjoy your chats with people. And what to do when someone says something nasty to you that makes you feel angry. Next, how to calm down and relax your body into being still. This year, we wrote a booklet of tips for having a good night's sleep. Also, how to cross the road when you're frightened of cars. And we helped other people walk to the shops who were frightened of dogs or nasty-looking people. And lastly, we helped with telling the time, using shops, using buses, and so on.
Do you help people plan what they do?
Now that's an important question, Sarah. Doing enjoyable things each week is good for people who want to feel happy. If you get stuck for ideas, we can help you and carers to draw up a list of things for a good week. One thing we did this year was to make a book called Good Life Planning.
That's interesting. Well then, how do you help people?
The first step, Sarah, in our work is to ask your permission to help you learn something. We meet you and tell you how we do our job. You can say yes or no. We usually visit you at home, but you can meet us at our office if you like. We give you the choice to meet us again and you can say no at any time. We meet with you about once a week.
How do you get to know someone that you work with?
Before we start, Sarah, we want to try and see things just as you see them. We ask you questions about what you like and what you don't like, only if it's okay with you. We ask someone who cares for you to tell us what you like and what you don't like.
But what about difficulties?
Aha. We help to chop up things that you do into smaller steps. We take one small step at a time. We want to make things easy. When you're happy and doing well at the first step, then we try the next small step. If it's okay with you, we let the carers know that you're doing well. They will work with us to help you practice good things.
Do you show us how to do things?
Yes, Sarah. Sometimes we become actors. We act out the correct way of doing things. We ask you to watch and then copy. We draw what we mean and give you this to keep. This will help you remember. It'll also help carers remember.
How long do you work with people?
Well, we work with you each week for just a few months or for a year. This means that we see you about 10 to 20 times. And we let you know when we're close to finishing. At the end, we make sure that you're thanked for your hard work.
I have another question. Do you work with people with severe learning difficulties?
Yes, Sarah. We do help people with severe learning disabilities. Their carers need to help them a lot. They might not speak. Some people with severe learning disabilities shout when they can't get something. And this is because they can't explain what they want. We take some time to get to know the person and watch what upsets them. We then help the carers and staff to learn what the person wants.
Right. Is there any other way that you can tell us that you help the carers and staff?
Yeah, for carers and staff, we do advice sessions and training and give out booklets. We offer training on good life planning. This year, we offered training in challenging behaviour. That training involves understanding what the person with a disability wants, and it involves how to gently help the person calm down. Lastly, the teaching sessions help carers to be very rewarding and making sure that the person knows they've done well.
I've learned a lot today about positive behaviour support. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Sarah.
Cognitive analytic therapy.
Hello, my name's Anne Bancroft and I'm a clinical psychologist and cognitive analytic therapist. Cognitive analytic therapy, or CAT therapy as it's called for short, is the name of the therapy that I use to work with people. This is the story of what it can be like for someone who comes to work with me, and I'd like to introduce Mark to you. He can tell you what it was like for him.
I went to see a psychologist because I was feeling really miserable. It seemed that everything I was doing was going wrong. I was really nervous at first. I didn't know if it would help, but Anne was okay and easy to talk to. She talked to me about cognitive analytic therapy. The name sounded really complicated, but it's just about finding patterns. She said that we all have patterns of doing things and feelings. In certain ways, sometimes we get stuck, and that makes things worse for us instead of better. We met a few times and talked about lots of things that happened to me in my life and things that I was doing now. She got me to think much more about how I was feeling and how I was getting on with other people. Then she wrote me a letter. It was about me, why I had to go to see her, and the things I had to talk to her about.
Mark, last week I talked to you about me writing you a letter, and I've got the letter today and I'd like to read it now. So it says, Dear Mark, this is the letter that we've talked about. In it, I've tried to tell your story as I've heard it. I've tried to show how the things that you've experienced in the past may have influenced the way that you feel and think about yourself now and what you do. We can talk about the letter together when I've read it to you, and you can make changes to it if you want to. You came to this therapy because you were feeling really unhappy and it felt as if nothing was going right for you.
I liked the letter even though there were some sad bits in it. It showed me that she understood what I've been saying and drew a picture of my patterns, and we looked at that a lot. We still got it and look at it sometimes. I'd been talking to Anna about what had been happening that week, and then we'd looked at a diagram to see if I'd been doing my patterns again. Didn't feel like going to college on Monday. Boring.
Boring, but I thought you were practising for that play, Mark.
Yeah, but I'm not doing that now.
Oh, has something happened?
Well, Brian told me off last week because I kept forgetting my lines.
Is that why you didn't go? It made you feel bad? Is that this pattern, do you think? It's the avoiding pattern, isn't it, Mark? You were really worried about getting told off again, and so you didn't go. But what's happened to the worry?
Still there. Anne helped me to find things to do to get out of my old patterns, and my new patterns help me feel better. I don't see her every week now. I was a bit worried about stopping. I thought it would be hard doing it on my own, but Anne wrote me another letter.
Dear Mark, today's our last session of this therapy, and before we say goodbye, I want us to take some time in this letter to talk about the work that we've done together, what it's been like for both of us, what we've done, and what you're going to have to do on your own now that therapy has come to an end. When we first met, you were feeling really miserable and low. It seemed to you that nothing would ever turn out good for you. It's been a privilege working with you, Mark. It's been really good fun at times, and sometimes it's been sad. You've always stuck at it though, and been brave enough to keep on coming, even though you could have easily gone back to that old pattern of you avoiding hard things. I've respected you for this. I shall miss you, and I wish you the very best of luck for the future. For now.
I saw Anne a couple of times after that, but I don't go anymore. I've still got her letters and my picture. I look at them sometimes. They remind me when I got stuck in the old patterns again. And then I can remember about the new things I can do to get myself out of it again.
As Mark's story shows, cat therapy is about helping people notice the patterns that they've got into that are not really helpful to them. Together, we learn to recognise when these are happening, and then people can start to try out new ways of thinking and feeling about themselves and others and develop new, more helpful patterns. The letters and the drawings help us to do this and can help to remind them of what we did after therapy has ended. I hope that our story has given you an idea of what cat therapy is like.
Cognitive behavioural therapy.
Hi, I'm a psychologist and I work in a way called CBT. The full name is Cognitive Behavioural Therapy. The word cognitive means thinking and behaviour means the things that we do. CBT is all about the way we think affects the way we feel and the way we behave. So, for example, thinking that no one likes you, that may make you feel quite sad. You may stay at home rather than go out with friends. That might be one of the reasons why you might come to see a psychologist. You may choose to see your psychologist on your own, at home, or at a GP clinic, or at a health centre. When you first meet your psychologist, you and your psychologist can decide what you would like to talk about and what you would like to focus on. Then each time you meet with your psychologist, you will have a list of things you want to do in that session. Now, let's take a look at what might happen in a session.
Hello, Dave.
Hello, Sarah. Come in.
Thank you.
So, Dave, since I last saw you, how have you been?
I've been up and down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you had the chance to fill in your diary at all?
Yes,
Yeah.
Sarah.
Okay. Can I have a look at it, please? Was it okay to fill in the diary? You find that okay? Yeah? Okay. It looks as if you've had quite a sad week because you've ticked a lot of the sad faces on the diary, haven't you?
Yeah.
And it looks as if Sunday is probably your worst day. You've ticked lots of sad faces on that day. And you does that mean that you were sad for most of the day?
Can
you tell me what happened?
On Sunday, I've been all week in my house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't been out?
No. And then the rest of the week, then was helping my dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you haven't been out for most of the week, and that's made you feel quite sad and